Hello, this is Dr. J, back with some more Let's Play Command & Conquer. One thing I'd like to note real quick that I forgot to mention at the end of the last video, I really like the portrayal of Greg Burdett by the actor who's portraying him. I think he does a fantastic job of kind of doing the investigative reporter effect. Apparently, from what I read, that actor was actually a local newscaster, I think a weather reporter, that Westwood hired to act as a reporter for the cutscenes in this game, which might explain why he's able to do such a good job of pulling it off. But anyway, it is now time to begin the first of the variations of GDI Mission 5. Let's see what kind of effect Nod's propaganda might have upon things.
It's a lie, all of it. GDI wouldn't slaughter children.
Was Bialystok a Tiberium center?
Isn't this another incident of GDI reacting to incorrect information?
Any comment?
Should GDI funding be cut?
Nod forces severely damaged GDI base in your area. Critical shortage of weapons and manpower. Find GDI base and return it to operational status.
So there we saw that General Shepard is being harassed by the media, who have bought into the lies put forth by Nod. As I said before, I do find this maybe a little bit unrealistic. I would understand if Kane was manipulating alternative media sources and turning the people against GDI. That would make sense. But he seems to be manipulating the major news networks, which again is something that the major governments and GDI itself would be doing, not Nod. So that's a little bit of a strange take. Also, did you notice that little Easter egg where, because we were cut off from command, Eva had to give us a special transmission and give us our objective in a non-standard way? When it was trying to find a working connection with various GDI command posts, did you notice the one that was successful? Las Vegas. That's a little bit of an Easter egg because Las Vegas is where Westwood Studios was located when they made this game. So that's kind of cool. Alright, so we have to go find a GDI base that has been attacked by Nod and cut off, and restore it to operational status. I will say that although the way Nod manipulates the media seems a little off, because again, it seems like they should be manipulating alternative media sources rather than the mainstream. For the most part, when you consider that it was made in the mid-90s, this game was remarkably prescient in its depiction of contemporary warfare being sort of a coalition of United Nations, you could also say NATO, a coalition of NATO forces spearheaded by the US, fighting international terrorist organizations. Incredibly prescient, considering that did end up being what a lot of global warfare ended up looking like over the next decades. Now there's a lot that could be said about the motivations and the results of all that warfare, but that's getting into dangerously political territory, and we're just playing a silly game, so let's not delve into that particular hot-button topic. Instead, let us just find this GDI base and restore it to operational status. Alright, this base has indeed been under rather severe attack, it appears. Notice that we have no construction yard in this mission, so we can't replace any buildings that get destroyed, nor construct any new ones. We do have a weapons factory, but the vehicles we can produce are painfully limited. We can only make APCs and Humvees. We still can't make tanks. It takes longer in the GDI campaign to get the ability to build proper armored units than it does in the Nod campaign. We also can't even build harvesters, so we're stuck with just the one harvester for the entirety of this mission. Unless we can capture the enemy's refinery, but if we're able to do that, we've pretty much won the mission already anyway. So this mission does severely limit us in our income and what we can produce, which can make it fairly tricky. We've got an enemy attack force coming from the north. Since the enemy has tanks, that's going to pose a problem for us. We do start off with a pair of medium tanks, which are the workhorse armor unit of GDI and one of the all-around best units in the game. But we only have the two, and we cannot replace them, which means we're going to want to try to keep them well protected. If we lose those medium tanks, our only other anti-armor unit is going to be Grenadiers. As we saw in the last video, Grenadiers are not fantastic at taking out armor. So we'd rather not have to rely on them if we don't have to. Alright. Our scouting forces are getting hit every direction they go, so our attempt to scout out the enemy base has failed due to all the enemy patrols we're running into. Got another attack group coming in from the west here. I do want to reveal more of the Fog of War. I'm mostly going to be relying on minigunners for this mission. I have already discussed my feelings about Grenadiers. Too much friendly fire, too much taking out their own troops when they explode. So the minigunners are once again going to be our go-to unit, even here in Mission 5. They will be backed up by the medium tanks, which we'll use for anti-armor operations. Okay, this tank is foolishly just sitting there and not trying to crush our infantry squad, so they might actually win this fight. Incredible. Since the tank was stupid enough to just sit there and take it, they were able to destroy it. Don't expect that to happen every time. Ordinarily, the tanks will try to crush us, and the computer is pretty good at micromanaging its units to crush our infantry. The AI is lacking in a variety of ways, but its squishing micromanagement is pretty good. Wow, our infantry squad was able to take out another enemy tank. This is going great. Now you may notice that since we can build both engineers and APCs, there is one fancy tactic that is open to us. And naturally, we will attempt to take advantage of it if we can. That's the good old-fashioned engineer drop. Extremely effective in the CNC games where engineers capture buildings with just a single engineer. Less effective in games like Red Alert, where it takes multiple engineers to capture a building. But we'll go ahead and train 2 engineers. We'll build a new APC, because that one's damaged. Later on, we'll be able to build repair bays, which can fix damaged vehicles, but we don't have access to those yet. Nope, another attack coming in from the north. We set up our infantry to attack them as they arrive. We should be able to hold them off, no problem. The tank could be an issue. We'll send forth our own tanks to sort him out. What the heck? Oh, he hit a grenadier, and then he just squished 5 guys at once. This is why relying on infantry to deal with tanks can be a problem. Man, did you see how when he hit that grenadier, an entire group of guys exploded? Grenadiers are awful. Hopefully they're all dead. They're more of a liability than an asset, to be honest. Okay, yeah, that's a minigunner. It's so hard to tell with this resolution, man. Another enemy tank. Oh, it's squishing us. Okay, we stand no chance against it.
Yes, sir. Affirmative.
Our engineer drop is now ready to go.
Yes, sir. Affirmative. Ready and waiting. Moving out. Affirmative.
Our main targets will be the enemy construction yard, and if the harvester is at home, the enemy refinery. Now we just have to wait for our harvester to come back with another load of Tiberium so we can continue building an attack force. Actually, this is a little dangerous because the game goes really comically fast. Oh, okay, never mind. That's not so bad. Okay, we've got enemies incoming. Let's slow it down.
Yes, sir. Moving out. Acknowledge.
Build a platoon of infantry, and then we'll go knocking on the enemy's front door and see what we can accomplish. Oh, is that a grenadier? And he's dead. Any more grenadiers left? Hopefully not. Honestly, they are just a liability. It's ridiculous. The bug where band selecting units causes an erroneous move order is actually a really problematic one. It causes all kinds of accidental orders and makes unit control much more of a pain than it should be. That's why I like to rely on control groups when possible, but control groups are less flexible, since you can't change which units you want to select on the fly.
Unit ready. Building. Unit ready. Building. Unit ready. Building.
Waiting orders.
We've got, let's see, 7 guys here, 8 guys here, and then 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 here.
Building. Unit
Let's do 2 more loads worth of Tiberium, and that should be enough infantry to do some real damage.
ready. Unit ready.
Just about got a platoon worth of guys now.
Building. Unit ready. Building. Unit ready. Unit ready. Building. Unit
Alright.
ready.
Now, this is a little dangerous to not leave any defenders behind in case the enemy comes knocking. There we go again with that erroneous movement from the band select. We will have to try to keep an eye on things so that if the enemy launches an attack while we're out attacking them, we can respond appropriately. I'm hoping by the time the enemy launches an attack, we'll have gotten another load of Tiberium and we'll be able to train some defenders. Nod's forces are light but highly mobile, which can make them a real pain to deal with. Especially when they start kiting you and using micro. Alright, let's begin scouting. Okay, that infantry is wandering through Tiberium. That's not going to end well for him. Let's go ahead and destroy this SAM site. Pretty sure there will be SAM sites located inside the enemy base, so I don't think we're likely to get airstrikes till we've already won anyway. We can lure out the enemy defenders by attacking the harvester, which might be to our advantage, because then we can fight them away from their base defenses. Here they come. The AI always goes berserk when you attack its harvesters. It's dangerous to attack harvesters with infantry because they can get squished. Man, that is a tough harvester. We got it. Excellent. Oh, I should continue building defenders. Okay, the tanks are going to try to squish our guys. With a fairly high degree of success, I'm afraid. We'll try to use the scatter key, but it's of limited success. We're taking losses, but we are pushing through the enemy defenses. Alright, now, Nod has a default anti-vehicle defense, the gun turret, which means that we want to lead with infantry, so that they'll target those. I'm going to start building some Humvees just so I don't have to click on the build button so dang many times. By leading with the infantry and having them take the hits, the gun turrets will be minimally effective. And it looks like we're in. I think this is well done to us. Mission accomplished. Didn't even need the engineer drop. Well, there are some enemy infantry guarding the barracks, but we've got enough forces to take them out. However, they are continuing to train more. Okay. First thing we're going to do, take the enemy construction yard. Second thing we're going to do, take one of their silos and hope there's a bunch of money in it. Now, we can make a Hand of Nod. And the reason we want to do that, so we can spawn more engineers in the middle of the enemy base. And yes, this mission is over. We have definitely won at this point. I'm going to want to take the enemy's airstrip so that they stop ordering units. That's getting pretty annoying. Pretty cool how the plane flies away if the airstrip is lost in the middle of the plane making a delivery. I'm just going to sell the airstrip. I don't care to make any Nod vehicles. I would rather continue making engineers and taking over the rest of the enemy base. Maybe we'll get some money if we take all of their Tiberium silos. Alright, there we go. That was a bit of cash. Is there another SAM site lurking around? Because I would have expected to have gotten an airstrike. So there probably is another one. Just in case this is the last of the enemies, I'll make a save here. We only need a single save at this point. There's not going to be any more of the weird multi-branches. Alright, so there's something lurking somewhere that we have yet to destroy. Let us deploy our Humvees as scouts to track down whatever enemies are hiding somewhere on the map. Now, if the computer was a gentleman, it would surrender at this point. Oh, goodness. There. Much prefer this track. I'm not really into heavy rock and metal. It's a little heavy for me. It's just my personal taste. Where on earth is the last enemy? I honestly don't know. There must be an infantry hiding somewhere that I'm having trouble seeing because of the resolution. Tell you what, I won't make you watch me hunt down the last enemy, so I'll rejoin you once I have found it. Okay, I found it. Probably you viewers saw it right away and were shouting at the screen. It only took me a second after I stopped the recording to find it. There is indeed a SAM site behind this set of trees. I'm not surprised it's a SAM site, because as I said, we should get an airstrike once we've destroyed all the SAM sites. Sadly, that's a very useless feature, as I have said before, because generally there will be SAM sites in the enemy base. By the time you destroy them all, you've already won anyway. Alright, let's make our save here. Airstrike mission accomplished. And we get a nice metaphorical representation of GDI wrecking Nod as the GDI Eagle swoops down and carries off the Nod Scorpion. Good stuff. Alright, seems like that covers it for that variation of the mission. So, I think we have enough time. We're going to go ahead and do the other Germany variation of this mission. It's going to be the same objective, just a different map. So, see you for that in just a second. Alright, and now time to do the southern variation of the Germany path for this mission. Exact same pre-mission videos, so we'll skip them. Alright, once again, our objective is to find and reinforce the GDI base, and then destroy Nod. Sometimes it's easiest just to hit the G key and let your units sort it out, rather than trying to individually target every enemy. In cases like this, your units can do a better job. Actually, a good thing that the Humvee is sitting right in front of the tank, because it will discourage the tank from trying to squish all our infantry. Alright, you know what? Grenadiers, you guys are just going to get us all killed. I'm sending you all off on suicide scouting missions. What an evil commander I am. We'll just leave that Rocketeer alone, I suppose. There's the Nod base right up there. I believe the very first time I ever played this campaign as a 10 or 11-year-old kid, I think this was the variation of the mission I did. The map just seems very familiar to me. And at the time, I didn't quite realize all the different branching paths and stuff, so I don't think that I kept save points and like did all the various versions of the missions. It really expands the amount of content in this game if you take every branch. I mean, they're fairly meaty campaigns as it is, but you really get a lot of content if you do all the different mission variations. Alright, we've got an enemy tank incoming. We're going to want to send all of our forces to counter that. Probably not the Humvee. Humvees are just about the worst possible vehicle to send against enemy tanks, because they are vulnerable to its weapon and they can hardly do any damage to it. Really would prefer not to lead with the medium tank. Fortunately, he was stupid and changed target to the infantry, who he can hardly damage at all. It is, of course, unrealistic that the tanks aren't armed with machine guns for anti-infantry, but it's a balancing decision. They would be too strong if they were also good at destroying infantry. Unless, of course, they were much more expensive. Which actually is kind of an interesting idea. Making the tanks even better, but just making them very expensive. Don't know if that would really make for more interesting gameplay, though. It's more tactical when you have these kind of rock, paper, scissors issues you have to deal with. And this is a track that was not in the original version of the game. There's quite a few tracks in the Near Guds version of CNC that were not in the original. However, this was, of course, composed by Frank Klopacki. It is the CNC 80s mix. It is very silly. Let's all enjoy it. And then the enemy attempting a sneaky flanking maneuver, attacking us from both sides at once. But we have good battlefield awareness, so it didn't work. Looks like they've got a tank coming our way, unless it's just on patrol. Alright, let's save up some money to begin preparing for an engineer drop. Wasn't really necessary in the previous mission, but... Actually, you know what? Let's not even bother this time. Let's just destroy everything. We don't want to abuse it too much and do NG drops every single mission. Have some variety. Just do a frontal assault sometimes. Alright, yeah, this tank seems to think he can get something done by himself. Let's show him the foolishness of his ways. But not get into squish range. Okay, he's targeting one of our medium tanks. That's not what we want. But we took him out before he was able to do very much damage. Oh, and another flanking attack.
Unit ready. Building. Unable to comply. Building in progress.
Don't just stand there, guys. Go help.
Unit ready. Building. Unit ready. Building. Unit ready. Building.
Let's go ahead and soup up the game speed during the harvesting production phase of the mission.
Unit ready.
Oh, maybe you shouldn't stand there in the Tiberium. It's inhibiting harvesting and... So actually, infantry don't get hurt while they are just standing on Tiberium. They have to actually move through it to take damage. Okay, there's an enemy force coming that we should probably deal with properly. Stupid band select move. Okay, Humvee, you are gonna get wrecked by that. No! Okay, we just lost a whole bunch of infantry to a squish maneuver. This is the dangerous thing about taking on tanks with infantry.
Unable to comply. Building in progress. Unit ready. Unable to comply. Building in progress.
Alright, that attack managed. Okay, there's another one coming from this direction. The enemy does seem more aggressive in this version of the mission, don't they? This one's a bit more difficult. We're having to more actively defend our base. What the heck was that little maneuver?
Unit ready. Building. Unit ready. Building. Unit ready. Building. Building. Unit ready. Building. Building.
Okay, I think that should be enough of a force that we can do some real damage. So, everybody, prepare to move out.
Yes, sir. Reporting. Ready and waiting. Reporting. Vehicle reporting. Unit reporting.
Once again, we're going to hope that if the enemy does launch an attack, which I don't see any coming on the map, so I think we're okay, that by the time they arrive, we'll have gotten another load of Tiberium and we'll be able to train a squad of defenders. Oh, here comes an enemy tank. Aggressively going for the squish there. Very aggressively. Oh man, he's doing all kinds of damage. This guy's a hero. Look at him go. Whew. That was rough. The enemy tanks are better at squishing, and the enemy is more aggressive. This is a more difficult mission all around. Alright, go, infantry swarm. Show the enemy your power. Jeez, the enemy's doing a really good job of using the rock, paper, scissors mechanic to selectively target my medium tanks with their units that are good against anti-armor. Okay. I do want to reveal a little more of what's ahead. The infantry's scout radius is just pathetic. It's a little better on Humvees. Speaking of which, let's start building some Humvees just so we don't have to click build quite so many times. Okay, don't just sit there getting killed, please. It's not a smart thing to do. Alright, here we go. Full frontal assault on the enemy base. If this fails, it's going to be a major setback for us, because we're just throwing everything we've got into this. Protect the tanks. Thankfully, the enemy doesn't have flamethrower infantry, which would be a real problem for our almost all-infantry force. Base is pretty well defended. I'm worried about the enemy tank. It could go on a squishing spree and cause us real damage. Like that. Okay. Now let's take out their airstrip. Alright, good. We've temporarily halted their ability to call in reinforcements. Now we'll carve a path through their base toward their construction yard. Now, if we wanted to be fancy, we could have tried to go on this ridge, and apparently their base is very vulnerable up and undefended from up here, but I honestly don't know if it would have been much easier. I don't think we're going to be able to get our harvester while it's unloading this time, which is unfortunate. Alright, now if we take out the Hand of Nod, the enemy's ability to call reinforcements is... Where are we losing units? Okay, did you guys anger the harvester? I guess we were losing units in the main attack force, and that's probably why Evo was shouting out unit lost constantly. Let's go ahead and send these Humvees up to reinforce. I do have a Grenadier somewhere. There he is. Get out of here. You're just killing your own friends. I really dislike Grenadiers. The amount of friendly fire is unbelievable. Alright, let's prepare to destroy the enemy harvester while it's in its refinery. That'll be much easier. Guess the Grenadier got killed on Tiberium is probably what that unit loss was about. Alright, I think it's mop-up time. Once again, we have one sneaky SAM site trying to hide behind a tree. I considered trying to destroy all the enemy SAM sites before launching my main attack, but the way things worked out, we were kind of already attacking the enemy base anyway. Airstrike mission accomplished. It might make for a bit of a long video, but I think it's going to result in the best flow if I go ahead and do the last unique variation of this mission in the same video. So, I'll go ahead and rejoin you in a moment for that. First, let me just do one thing real quick before we do the next video. You're going to see that there's 2 more branches, but as I said, one of them is basically a duplicate of the first branch that we just did. To prove it, I'm going to edit this in post to put up maps of the 2 missions I'm talking about. So here is Germany North, and here is the Ukraine mission that is identical to Germany North, or at least almost identical. As you can see, the only thing that changed is that they shuffled some of the trees around. Absolutely bizarre that it's a complete duplicate mission, except they just moved around some of the trees. What is even the point of that? I have no idea. But I'm not going to do that mission, because we already did it. So I'm only going to do the remaining variation of this mission that is not a duplicate. See you for that in just a moment. And here we are with the other branch for GDI Mission 5. You'll notice that when we entered Poland, the follow-up missions were in Germany, and for the one mission that takes place in Belarus, the follow-up missions are in Ukraine. The Western Ukrainian mission is the one that's an almost exact duplicate of the Northern German mission, so the only variant left to do that's not a duplicate is Eastern Ukraine. Same mission briefings, so as usual, we have to find the GDI base, restore it to operational status, and wipe out the Nazis. Got some rocket soldiers here. We will take care of them using our infantry squad. Our medium tanks can make short work of the attack buggies sitting there on top of the ridge. If we destroy it now, we won't have to deal with it later. Get wrecked. Ah, look at that sneaky guy trying to hide behind the trees. Another Nod light tank. Let's pull our APCs back because they are very poorly suited to battling a light tank. Lure it off the Tiberium. If our guys fall it under the Tiberium, they'll take unnecessary damage. Alright, light tank is down. And another light tank. Man, this map is just crawling with them. He is really... Okay, he turned around. I was going to say, he seemed really determined to take out the Humvee or the APCs. But then he finally changed his mind. And then a couple of Rocketeers try to ambush our tanks from the trees. Another one. Boy, the path to the GDI base is a lot more heavily guarded in this variant of the mission. Now we've got a field of Tiberium in our way. Nod Buggy wants to play, okay, and then he runs away. Little hit and run. Okay, we finally got to our base. That was a bit of an effort this time, wasn't it? Usual protocol. We will mostly be building minigunners. And I think I'll take my Grenadiers and use them as suicide scouts. Obviously, I would not be so cruel if I were commanding real troops, but since they are just a few pixels on a screen, I really do not care.
Unit ready.
Ordinarily, I do like to try to role-play these sorts of things, but Grenadiers are just so awful that they just have to go. Okay, would you please stop being an idiot and just go drop off the damn Tiberium? My troops are frustrating me a little bit here with their terrible AI. Any more Grenadiers? Minigunner. Grenadier right here. Minigunner. 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 Okay.
Building.
Alright, Grenadiers. Hold off this enemy attack squad if you please. And now let's go scouting.
Ready. Building.
Reporting. Moving out.
Unit ready. Building. Unit ready.
Humvees are useful as scouts because of their speed and their better sight radius, but
Building.
in terms of just firepower, it's generally better to buy for minigunners. They have a lot better damage output than a single Humvee does.
Unit ready.
Right away, sir.
Building.
Acknowledged. Not a problem. Moving out.
Alright, so there's an enemy light tank guarding that Tiberium field.
Roger.
We found the Nod base right down here.
Right away, sir.
Boy, there's a ton of Tiberium here.
Moving out. Affirmative. Affirmative. Moving out.
I have a suspicion. Oh,
Reporting. Affirmative.
oh, a little bit of an attack force coming here. Just a couple infantry, but they're backed up by a light tank. What is my harvester doing? Oh my god, this is ridiculous. Drop off your load of Tiberium, you fool.
Acknowledged. Affirmative.
Drop it off! Good lord.
Unit lost. Unit
My kingdom for troops that aren't retarded. What the heck?
lost. Unit lost.
I do not blame myself for what a fiasco this is. My troops are acting like absolute idiots. You know what? I do not need all of these sandbags, and I cannot sell any of them. Okay, never mind. Thought maybe I'd be able to sell some of those sandbags for a bit of cash, but it seems I was wrong. Okay, now, what I was going to do before I realized that my harvester had just frozen up and then my troops had a bit of a fit of idiocy is... It looks to me like the enemy base might be a bit vulnerable from this ridge, so I wanted to scout it out with my APC's longer sight radius to see if there's any vulnerable buildings here. Well, well, what do you know?
Ready.
I see the enemy construction yard.
Building.
I think we might be able to do something with that.
Unit ready.
We will need some units with longer attack range than minigunners.
Building.
Minigunners have to be right on top of their target.
Unit ready.
So a couple of Humvees might serve us well here. Another enemy attack force en route.
Building. Construction.
Now those guys might go up and try to give my harvester a spot of bother. Now they will take damage just following it through the Tiberium, and they've changed their mind. They've decided to go off in the opposite direction. I think they can kite my infantry. Alright, fine. If they're going to run away, then we'll just let them do that. Alright, we're going to assemble our vehicles into a special attack force, and we're going to keep the infantry behind for defense. Alright, I don't want those guys as part of the vehicle attack force because they're going to be going across Tiberium. Now that light tank could put a dent in our plans. Back to building minigunners.
Unit ready. Building. Unit ready. Building.
Now I have a suspicion that when I start attacking the enemy construction yard, they're going to go a little berserk. Oh well, hello. Seems they want to come out to play.
Building.
Alright, as I was saying,
Unit.
they might go a little berserk, so I am probably going to want this infantry squad here to intercept them.
Building. Unit ready.
Rocket Soldier, okay, he's going to run away. We have very indecisive enemies in this mission. Take out the Guardian here.
Building. Unit ready.
That guy died horribly in the Tiberium. This game has some pretty good death screams, I have to say. A little bit sadistic, but I'm sure we all enjoy them. No use trying to pretend you don't. Okay, guys, you might want to go lend a hand there. Alright, now how many of my vehicles can hit the enemy construction yard from there? Okay, quite a few of them, but then some of them want to go around. And as I thought, the enemy is going berserk. However, with my infantry squad here to intercept them... Actually, the medium tank was having no problem hitting the construction yard from there, so... Alright, enemy construction yard is down. Now, any more buildings we destroy are permanently lost. Alright, might as well tackle this power plant. Okay, they are launching a full-scale counterattack. Get out of there, you fool! Don't get hit by the turret. They have a lot of tanks in this mission. Alright, troops, no more pussyfooting around. Time for a full frontal assault with everything we've got. They are swarming out to attack us, and they have a lot of guys. Wow, this might be the largest scale battle that we've had yet. Alright, we need to take out some of these rocket soldiers. There we go. Now they're tanks. Alright, we've taken pretty heavy losses, but we wiped out their construction yard and their counterattack. Well, we've almost wiped out their counterattack. Oh, I also noticed we have a mini-map, a communication center in this scenario. We didn't in the other two. This is the one that feels the most different from the others, I think. The first two variations of this mission that we did were... They felt pretty similar to each other. It was almost the exact same mission, just with the map layout a little different. I guess the enemy was a little bit more aggressive in the second version, or at least it felt like they were. But this time it has a pretty different feel to it. It was quite a bit more work to reach our base. The route there was well defended. We get a communication center in this version, and we didn't in the other versions. The enemy generally seems to have a lot more troops. So we actually had to engage in a fairly large-scale battle by the standards of early missions. But since we flushed out their defenders, and it seems like we've taken out most of them, though I'm sure they've been making more, I think we're ready to go knocking on their front door, leading the way with the infantry, because the turrets will focus on them, and they will take minimal damage. Let's go ahead and build an engineer, why not? Send our APC back to pick him up once he's done training.
Unit ready.
Let's take out the enemy airfield, or airstrip, whatever it's called. Ah, their infantry are not too happy with us. But their airstrip is destroyed, no more tanks or other vehicles to deal with. Now, if we can take out the Hand and Nod, they will be done building any kind of reinforcements whatsoever. Alright, go ahead and board the APC.
Unit lost.
The APC's almost dead, to the extent that that lone minigunner could actually destroy it, but... Okay, we won that fight. That was by no means certain. Where is the enemy harvester? Should be on its way back. The whole reason that I wanted to build an engineer will shortly become apparent. Oh no, I'm an idiot! Oh, I sent him in too early. That was unbelievably stupid. I realized that my mistake at the last second, but it was too late. Oh, that was a very foolish mistake. Oh no, now it's going to be such a pain to kill their harvester. Why did I do that? Oh, I'm feeling like a real idiot right now. It's going to be so hard to kill their harvester now. I wanted to capture it while it was in the refinery. Oh man, that was so dumb.
Reporting. Right away, sir.
Well, maybe if it's going to come park in the middle of my base, that'll make it easier.
Right away, sir. Moving out.
I'm pretty tired at the moment. I'm recording this part late in the day.
Not a problem.
I'm actually recording this final variation much later in the day than I recorded the first two variations, and so that's my excuse for this terrible play, is my tiredness.
Unit report.
Okay, fine. Just park there and let me kill you.
Yes, sir. You got it.
Oh my god, my guys can't get at him.
Affirmative.
They can't get at him. What is going on?
Yes, sir. Affirmative.
This is such a fiasco.
Affirmative.
Okay. Good lord.
Yes, sir.
Let's up the game speed for the mop-up here. Well, hopefully you viewers are getting a good laugh out of this,
Yes, sir.
this debacle.
Roger.
Building.
Unit
Get down there and help out.
Construction complete.
affirmative.
Wait, how is that guy still alive?
Captured.
Yes, sir.
Alright, hopefully this is the final enemy structure.
Airstrike ready.
Drat. Okay, what's left? There can't be any more SAM sites because the airstrike's ready. Ah, there it is. A lone Rocketeer. Go get him, boys.
Yes, sir. Unit report out. Unit affirmative. Ready and waiting. Affirmative.
Very, very slowly, it seems. Come on. You can do it. I believe in you.
Mission.
Yay. Oh, that was the messiest of all of those. All the GDI Mission 5s. We had a pretty cool mid-game battle, though, when we had to take on the giant counterattack as I destroyed their construction yard from the bottom of the ridge. That was pretty cool. I enjoyed that part.
Great shot.
Well, that is all the unique variations of GDI Mission 5. Next up, GDI Missions 6 and 7. Planning to get both of those done in one video. Hopefully you'll join me for that, and I will see you then.